Okay, doc. Shoot me an answer. Two drugs which are 30S inhibitors. Tetracycline and aminoglycoside. Let me check. Amino tetra comes the answer from Ritika, Raj, Shravya, who did not leave the fight in spite of post-lunch hypoglycemia. Sorry, post-lunch sleepy state, pre-lunch hypoglycemia. Life is miserable. 50S chloramphenicol, erythromycin, linezolid. 30S aminoglycoside, tetracyclines. This you are not going to leave. Okay, doc. Paget's. Paget's bone, Paget's breast has no relationship. Paget's vulva is also there. There are too many things Paget's did. He did not get seat in MD basically. So those days there were no entrance, so he had more time to do research. So doctor, Paget's is a marker of intraductal malignancy in the breast, but not always. If already a palpable intraductal malignancy is found, then axillary lymph nodes will be positive. If it is not associated, then you don't find. So axillary lymph node need not be there always is the issue. Up to 20% will have an associated breast mass, and in these patients they will have the axillary nodes positivity. Fluids in Manidol is the most important thing that need to be done in the hemolytic transfusion reaction. And you need to alkalinize the urine. Why? Because of the hemolysis there is a release of hemoglobinuria which can lead to development of a renal shutdown. Hemoglobinuria. To prevent that, you need to do the alkalinization of the urine is what need to be remembered. It is the lumbar spine which is most commonly involved. Okay, I think there is one more mistake in this. Dorsal spine is the second most common, is correct. Lumbar spine is most commonly involved. Probably we need to repair the option D. The remaining things are true. In the spine, the typical location is posterior element, which is true, and it can lead to a secondary scoliosis, which is also true, and coming to the treatment, most of those which are in the stage 1 lead to the pain in the night, very severe pain, which is wonderfully relieved by giving salicylates, osteoid osteoma. So it can be treated with aspirin. Maybe option D we need to change. Lumbar spine is second most commonly involved and make it a wrong statement. One more question which required repair. Okay, enchondroma. If enchondroma with multiple hemangiomas are found, what do you call it as, doctor? Typically it is called Maffucci syndrome. You must know difference between Olliers and Maffucci. That's the idea of this question. Coming to osteochondroma, is it the most common benign tumor? It is the non-ossifying fibroma of the bone, which is the most common benign tumor of the bone, and the solitary osteochondroma is the second most common benign tumor of the bone, is what need to be remembered. Benzodiazepines, if you use it for a long period of time, what will happen, doctor? It leads to development of tolerance and downregulation of receptors. Coming to the local anesthetics, with esters allergy is more common than amides, because esters lead to PABA, para-aminobenzoic acid, which lead to the development of the allergic reactions which you see with ester type of local anesthetics. Etomidate. What is the speciality of it? Will it lead to cardiovascular depression? See, etomidate, propofol. These two things need to be remembered because they are used for the daycare surgery. Problem with the propofol is it leads to cardiovascular depression, but etomidate is relatively stable for the heart. Hence, those who have a heart problem also can be given etomidate safely. But problem with etomidate, it can lead to adrenal suppression. Hypoadrenalism can occur with the etomidate is what you need to fundamentally remember. Now the organs are divided into highly radiosensitive, moderate radiosensitive, low radiosensitivity. Muscle, brain, spinal cord. They typically have got a very low radiosensitivity is what you are going to ultimately remember. Now if you give radiation, some organs acutely respond, some will be late responding. So lungs and kidneys are the organs which will be lately responding, whereas bone marrow, GIT, skin, testis, they will be acutely responding to the radiation is what you are going to remember. Okay doc, shoot me an answer. Which antibiotic we use for atypical pneumonias which can prolong the QT interval? And the resistance of it is because of the methylation of the 23S rRNA. Excellent. That comes the answer even from Dr. Sunayan, Sunny, everybody. Erythromycin, azithromycin, clarithromycin, all these macrolides are the ones which are going to ultimately remember. Coming to radiation, which radiations are called non-ionizing radiations? Infrared, visible light, microwave, they are all examples of non-ionizing radiation is what I want to underscore to all of you. Now, what is the difference between, what is shingles? It is fundamentally the reactivation of the virus. Reactivation of the virus. That's the reason, doctor, reactivation of the herpes virus. A reactivated virus cannot be able to infect the fetus, whereas chickenpox, rubella, group B, active infections will all basically infect the fetus but not shingles, which is due to reactivation does not infect the fetus is what we have to fundamentally remember. Coming to the bladder and rectum, what is the normal bladder capacity? It is around 400 ml. And the base of the bladder is very closely related to cervix, upper vagina. That's the reason at the time of the hysterectomy there is a chance of injuring the base of the bladder from a surgical anatomy perspective. Now coming to the outpouching of columnar epithelium, what do you call it as? It is not erosion, it is called ectropion or ectopy fundamentally. Whereas the first thing is true. Transformation zone is affected by hormones and it is easily visible at ovulation, pregnancy, and the women who are receiving the estrogen rich OCPs is what need to be remembered. Coming to dysgerminomas, which are the counterpart of seminomas, what do you typically come across? The peak age of incidence is 30 years. CA 125 is basically elevated not in dysgerminomas but in epithelial cell tumors is what you have to fundamentally remember. Now a 25-year-old gravida 1 para0, when she has undergone vaginal delivery, there is inversion of the uterus. In that scenario, what are you going to do as an obstetrician? Give her fluids, give anesthesia preferably with halothane, and then the moment uterus is restored to normal configuration from an inverted position, then you need to basically stop the relaxation and then give oxytocin, contract the uterus and expel the placenta. When it is in inverted position, if you try to extract placenta, it can lead to terrible bleeding, uncontrollably terrible bleeding, which we don't want, is what need to be remembered. Breastfeeding can be encouraged in spite of which scenario? So you must know what are the contraindications and which are relative contraindications for breastfeeding, everything. Now coming to the cervical dysplasia, Depo-Provera, progesterone has nothing to do with the cervical dysplasia. But previous history of chlamydia, multiple sexual partners, young age at the initiation of sexual activity, they all do have got a relationship with the cervical dysplasia is what you have to fundamentally remember. But there is a relationship definitely between OCPs and not cervical dysplasia in squamous cell carcinoma, but with cervical adenocarcinoma. There is a relationship between OCPs and adenocarcinoma of the cervix is what we have to basically appreciate. Precocious puberty is there. Unwanted early release of the hypothalamic hormones, LHRH is there. So how can you stop it? You can be able to give GnRH agonists in a continuous manner. If you give, it will inhibit LHFSH. If you give GnRH agonists in pulsatile manner, it will stimulate the release of the LH and FSH, which we use in the infertility practice, as all of you know very well. Now coming to the ambiguous genitalia, typically it can be associated with a previous sibling with congenital adrenal hyperplasia. That can lead to the development of ambiguous genitalia. Is a true statement. Yes, you need to do karyotype. Why karyotype? Because testicular feminization syndrome with XY karyotype can also lead to development of ambiguous genitalia. You want to be sure that it is not testicular feminization syndrome, hence you need karyotype. You need to do immediate examination. Why? Because some of the congenital adrenal hyperplasias can lead to the development of a salt losing type and failure to thrive. You need to see that the problem is not CAH immediately, not after 1 month. Immediately at the time of the birth you need to basically evaluate. Now give me an answer, doctor. Which antibiotic is known to lead to hemolysis with G6PD patients, nephrotoxicity, photosensitivity, kernicterus in infants, displace the other drugs from albumin? All this apply to which antibiotic? You know? Which is used? They already have an answer. Nitrofurantoin, Sunine, Ritika says quinine, Shankar says sulfa, Dilip also says sulfa, which is true. Sulfonamides is what you need to remember. Everything, anything about sulfonamides. There's urinary incontinence. You have done cystourethrogram. What is the purpose of it? Whenever incontinence is there, it can be because of stress incontinence, urge incontinence. It can be LMN bladder, UMN bladder, anything is possible. So we want to evaluate how is the bladder sensation. Normally we get the first sensation of fullness and a drive to go for micturition once 100 ml urine collects. Urge is felt at 350 ml. Maximum capacity is 450 ml for the bladder is what you have to be very sure about. Coming to stress incontinence, poor obstetric history, obesity, lack of hormone replacement therapy in the postmenopausal women, any of them can be predisposing factor for the development of the stress incontinence is what need to be remembered. Now coming to the pessary, what are the complications which can occur for incontinence if you place a pessary? Vaginal ulceration, incontinence can be worsened, profuse vaginal discharge can occur, vaginal trauma can be there. So these are all the possibilities if you place the pessary.